Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Outcast Season 2, Episode 3. Full spoilers for the episode as always. Well, this episode opened with a, well, not quite a bang, more of a slash, but
Aye.
had an impact all the same. It was the couple we seen at the start of the last episode, Helen, I think the woman's name is, who's possessed. And it was almost like they were going down this same path with the fireman and his wife, where she was possessed and he was helping, even though he was a human. But
Yep.
Sydney's clearly had enough of this.
hmm
It's not worth the effort. And he slits the guy's throat, and it's kind of gloriously violent, and I was all for it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. No
Uh,
complaints.
and then that little ginger Two Face didn't have the gonads to finish the job.
Well, to be fair, they probably just got burned off.
Yeah, yeah. But he actually ends up running away actually because Sydney comes back later and he's gone. But Sydney's been nursing him back to health. He
And
wants him
he nursed back his balls.
to nurse back his balls. Yes, and he wants him to I don't know, be this soldier of evil or whatever because he's awful and wants to ruin the world.
Yep.
Which is why when we see his mother be concerned about him, it's kind of hard to be like, your son's kind of an evil little shit who actually wants to help kill people.
Yeah. Just it's really hard to be sympathetic, isn't it?
It's not. It's because it's not like he sees the throat slashing and he doesn't like even he barely reacts to it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a thing. It's not until he's asked to cut up the body where he's like slightly hesitant,
Exactly.
just a touch. So we were right. The Reverend is the one who came to save Megan,
What a shock.
and that was all fine and well. And I did like the whole bit where he's like, he quotes the good book, and she's like, wait, no, that's not the Bible, that's Doctor Seuss. It's like, still a damn fine book.
Yep.
That was a pretty good line. The good direction kind of continued in this one. So Megan kind of snaps out of it to an extent, and she
Yeah.
grabs Holly and she takes her home back to their house. And there's a lot of both of them being scared of the bathroom and like staring at the tiles where Mark was lying dead and where the blood was and all the rest of it. One of my favourite moments from all those scenes is a really simple thing. It's when Holly's looking up the stairs and she's like scared to go up, and Megan like steps into the sort of the foyer and says, "Connor holding back a hiccup. He's got chronic hiccups. In case you don't know that, there's another one.
There's a lot. Yep.
He's trying to hold back. He's trying to be polite, but it ends up just sounding like he's holding back. I don't know, vomit or something." But so Holly's looking up the stairs, and Megan comes into the scene, and she's standing. It's a great. There's a lot of low, really extreme, like high angle shots when they're in the house. There's a lot of looking
Yeah.
down at them at a really extreme angle. Some almost bird's eye, some just really extreme. And this one's just an extreme angle. But what I like about it is Megan's at the door frame, and next to the door frame is like all the coats are hung up. And what I really like is she's telling her that it's going to be fine and they're still a family. The coats on the coat hangers. There's like one that's clearly her coat, one that's clearly a little girl's coat, and then one that's clearly Mark's coat. It's like this family of coats
Yeah.
next to her as she says this, and it was a really subtle touch, but I really liked it.
It was things like, when they first get to the house and you just go through those shots of it's just the house that it goes through, and it kind of lingers on a few different things. It's just really nice direction. Like, it just
Yeah.
really establishes this house is kind of abandoned at the minute, even though there's this, because one of them is the family picture, and it's like you get that there was a family here, but now it's kind of just gone.
Yeah, it's not home anymore. It
Yeah.
feels empty and devoid of love, which is really depressing. And then we get some really cool effects because Megan starts freaking out and she starts imagining she's still in the water and all the walls start getting damp. It's a really cool effect. Just
it is.
seeing, and you see the dripping and she takes out the gun. And that comes after she jokes because Kyle comes by and he's concerned because he's found out what's happened, and he comes by to talk to her and he finds out that she's pregnant and everything else. And she cracks a joke about, well, if I was serious about it, I'd have used a gun. And
Yeah.
so later on, when she pulls out that gun, it's like,
Yeah.
like what? Where are you going with this, Megan? And we see Blondie from the church,
Blondie.
the rogue church. We don't know her name yet,
No, I know. Me either.
but from the rogue church, and she's trying to like help out, and she like comes out running out of the front door with holding the gun in her hand. She's like, "Is everything okay?"
I like how she kind of just brushes it off, though.
Yeah.
It's like, you've just come out with a gun.
And she puts it on the ground. I mean, I guess that helps her feel a little bit better. And like, okay, I'm probably not going to get shot here,
I
but there's
think that
still
was more for her. Like, I'm putting this on the ground because I don't trust myself with this right now.
yeah. But I'm just from her perspective. She's like, okay, I'm probably not getting shot here now at least because she's not intending to shoot me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you would have to think, well, something's clearly gone on.
It's still kind of extreme. Do you know anyone? You answer the door and they're standing there with a gun. You're going to be like, right, okay, why are you holding the gun? Is this because I've knocked on the door?
I mean, it'd be another thing if the other hand had like a rag or something like they were cleaning it. Like maybe they had some cleaning stuff in the other hand, and it was clear that that's what they were doing. But
from her side, it looks like the doorbell's rang and then she's grabbed the gun and come to the door.
And she runs
out
as well.
That's a threatening image.
She bolts right out as if she's like, pardon the phrase, she's gunning for the front door. That's what it's like. She runs for it.
Yeah.
So she's clearly, it all kind of comes down to like neither of them, neither her or Holly are having a really great time trying to adjust, and she finally admits at the end of the episode, like, no, okay, we can't stay in this house, right? You're right. So, nah, but some really good beats in there in between all this stuff, with just stylistic from the direction, from the cool effects of like her still being in the water almost, and the windows are cracking and the walls are getting damp. It was just fun stuff. So we mentioned the body last episode, the 30-year-old corpse that was under the house from the fire. We said someone came and picked it up. Turns out that's a guy from the junkyard. And he did have. I mean, I recognise he had like work overalls on, but he could have been from several places. But no, junkyard adds up.
Yeah.
And we find that he's taken more people. He takes Helen, I think her name was, the woman. You know, her husband gets throat slashed at the start. You know, and then the possessed parents of the kid from season 1, like he's collected a few people, and Kyle and the Reverend track him down. They get to the junkyard, and they find a room full of these people, these possessed people, including the guy who bashed his head in last episode. And it turns out, need a little twist here because I didn't see this coming.
Me either.
I really didn't, but Chief walks in and it's like this junkyard guy's a buddy of his. He helps him clean up messy situations. They are doing this. They're bringing these people in, and Kyle's like, "No, we can't do it like this. This is inhumane. We can still help some of them," and they do. They help the guy with the bashed in head, and it takes several. Even the kid who's not possessed anymore, and they point that out. Like the kid's not possessed.
Yeah.
If you're taking possessed people, he should not be here. That's something they really should be considering. But even the kid like jumps in when they're trying to hold him down while Kel's getting all the stuff out of him. And rather interestingly, it does try to get back in.
Yeah.
Which is something we haven't seen it do. Now, admittedly, at the end of the scene, when it finally stops trying, one last little bit comes out. So I don't know if maybe it was only trying to get back in because it wasn't completely out yet.
Yeah, it was still like reconnecting with the rest of itself.
Yeah, like it still had a loose connection, as it were, with the body. So I don't know if that's maybe the reason for it, or if in general it can just go back in. Because it's kind of weird that it's never tried before. This is the first time that it's immediately just turned around and went, no, I'm going back in.
Yeah, and it feels a weird way of answering, obviously, the question I mentioned with the last episode of can bodies be repossessed? And, you know, if it hadn't had that extra little bit, that would answer it, I suppose. That they're at least willing to try, which means they believe they can.
But because of that little bit, though, it keeps it murky. It's like, can it or can't it? And maybe that's the point. Maybe even Kyle isn't sure. And they let them go, but Kyle's like, yeah, tell Cindy what you saw.
Yeah.
So, message sent out loud and clear. But Kyle's very curious. He goes and asks the junkyard guy about this body. And we were not a million miles away with some of our theorising.
No, we weren't, were we?
Last episode, because we said, 30 years, that's about the same time as his mother, you know, give or take the age, just before Kyle was born, kind of in that region. And so he goes to talk to the junkyard guy, and the junkyard guy's like, oh yeah, like you think you're the first one who's been fighting this? I've done this before. This was the worst. This was our Sydney 30 years ago.
Yeah.
He says that as much. He's like, and Kyle's like, who's we? Who are we fight? Who's fighting with you? Like, and he's like, oh, your old man. And it suddenly occurs to me, we haven't really heard a whole lot about Kyle's dad.
No, and obviously we know Kyle has passed it to his daughter. What about his dad?
Yeah.
Is that where he's got it from?
But in this scenario, it was like, you know, if Kyle's was his dad, like it was Kyle's wife in this scenario that became the Sydney,
Yeah,
which is really creepy and weird
yeah.
and dark. So
But
look,
it really opens up the mythology, doesn't it?
it does, yeah, because it's like, okay, this has happened before and they've fought back before.
Yeah, and the idea that it's maybe some sort of cycle, and there's a reason they're trying now. You assume.
Yeah, maybe like I don't know, the pathway between worlds is thinnest every 30 years,
Yeah, yeah, could
kind of
be.
thing. Sounds about right. I don't know, but that was kind of a big thing, and it makes me wonder, like, do they have more plans for his wife? Like, is that a plan now?
Yeah, is that like a seed for us? Like to go, oh, look what happened last time. No, it's gonna
Yeah.
history. Does history repeat itself?
Yeah, or at the very least, like even if it's not, even if the intention is not to do something like that with her again, is it at least just an indication of like everyone in Kale's life is screwed because they're connected to him? Is that
That, yeah, like the idea that before, if it was that, Kyle kind of had a messed up. He kind of got away with it maybe as the kid, and then but his wife, all the other stuff.
yeah?
But then this time, because we assumed before that the stuff that happened with his mother was because of him, but now maybe it was latent from his father.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Um, I don't know. Actually, I said something that made no sense a minute ago.
What did you say?
It wasn't Kyle's mum that was the Sydney. It was someone else. I don't know why I said that. That was
Yeah,
weird. Yeah, forget I said that. Of course she wasn't. We know about Kyle's mother.
yeah.
But no. What did you just say? I was correcting myself, hon.
What did I say? Yeah, no, I was saying if everything was kind of now we're saying everything revolves around Kyle and it's people who are connected to him
Right.
who are
Okay. Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
messed up. What if the stuff that happened to Kyle's mother, like with her being possessed, wasn't because of Kyle that she was connected to, but because of Kyle's father? It
It
was
could
it
be.
was to do with that.
I'm still inclined to think it was because of Kyle, though. I
Yeah,
think they know that Kyle's going to grow up to be the next, like, anti them,
yeah,
or kind of thing, or the outcast, or whatever the purpose they have for the outcast. Like, maybe, like, they wanted to do whatever they're going to do with Kyle with his father, but his father
yes.
was able to win the fight and was able to
Hmm.
stop them, and possibly died trying, because
So maybe that's why they tried when he was younger because they thought, I won't be able to fight back.
no, I don't think they were trying when he was younger. I think that was just them being ready. Like, if they can get to his mother that young,
Ah, right, okay,
yeah, they can. I
I
mean,
got
it
you.
depends. It depends exactly what this entails. Because they want them healthy, I assume they wouldn't have wanted to hurt him.
Well, that's true. Maybe it's just a way of keeping an eye on him,
Yeah, that said, she
grooming
did.
him for specific needs. She did try and kill him though.
Yeah, was he actually trying to kill him though, or was she just like,
I wonder if maybe it was they tried to take him out of the picture early on, go, no, let's just forget about it. Just
maybe
get rid of him.
maybe they didn't know what he was though,
Oh, could be.
and then it was like when he exorcised his mother, that was when they found out. Oh wait a minute,
Because we do know
he's
she was in that violent stage where they're not unsure of things, before the merge is complete.
yeah.
So maybe that was a mistake that she wasn't meant to attack him.
It could be that. It could be they didn't know what he was because maybe his father wasn't this. Maybe it
Yeah.
was his father battling these things that put him close to it that led to Kyle being the outcast kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, could
Or
be.
there's a lot of possibilities, but it's opened it up. Like certainly
It really has, yeah.
there's more to go on now, and so we're going to obviously learn more about his father. I imagine we're going to get more of this exact conversation next episode, where he's like, "Wait, what do you? My father? What? Talk about
Yeah.
this. Talk about this, old man."
But it just shows you that one line of dialogue really kind of has really opened up the mythology where we're now theorizing about things that we thought we knew the whole time, but now maybe
Yeah.
we're not so sure.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's definitely made the demon side of it, because I think maybe one of the problems with the show since the start is that it's felt very, we don't really know exactly what they're doing with Kyle in the sense of what the end game is, but the actual rules of demons and kind of, it's always been kind of just felt set in stone, whereas now it feels like, oh wait a minute, like this was already tried. It was
Yeah.
it's added an extra layer to it that makes it a bit more interesting. I think that's quite good.
It's always good when because the rules have been long established at this point. We've kind of gotten used to them. So now you break them, it means something. So now we're flipping everything again and we're learning from scratch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that they're shaking it up like this.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's good. I think another big moment we have to talk about. So, Amber wants to see her mother, so Kyle takes her to the hospital, and she has this weird moment because the parents go talk away from her because
Yeah, and
she
they go, "Hey, there's a fish tank over there. Go and check it out."
actual lines of dialogue from the show.
It might as well be. She was like, "Hey, there's a fish tank, and one of the fish is the same color as your bike. Why don't you go have a look?"
So, so this kind of crazy guy is coming up to her, and he's probably just crazy at this point. We're not really sure, but he may be possessed. It's maybe. And then a nurse comes in and says, "Oh, sorry," he wanders off, and you think, okay, that's the end of the scene. It was like a little scare, but then she like immediately like, wait a minute,
She turns around as well.
yeah, and then they're both like coming towards her like zombies. And then made it's great. There's a lot of great edit moments. It's a little annoying. I wanted to see what happened, but Amber holds up her hands like she's like, "Oh, I'm a badass anti-demon person. I can fight these demons off." And she holds up her hands, and we cut to the parents, and then they come round like a minute later, and she's on her own. She's fine. Like these other people have gone.
She's just looking in the fish tank again.
Yeah,
It's really interesting.
it's curious is I think the word I would use to describe
Yeah,
these
because
sequence of
if
events.
if she just exercised them, like we've seen before, would the two people not still be on the floor?
Plus, we see the crazy guy in a later scene with the mother,
Yeah, exactly.
and he still seems to be possessed because he starts mentioning things about like when she went crazy and with a demon in her. Like
Yeah.
he names all these things about the incident when she beat up her kid. So clearly he's not freed.
Right.
So
So what did she just scare them away? Going, hey, look, you know what I can do.
I think that's the basic interpretation: is they got close and they could feel they were going to get hurt, so they backed off, or maybe they realised who she was, and because they're not allowed to hurt Kyle, they're also not allowed to hurt her. Because Sydney did say in the scene that they have plans for both of them, like Kyle
I
and the little
imagine
girl.
she's like the backup.
Yeah, just in case Kyle somehow
Yeah.
doesn't quite make it.
Or maybe they're just, gonna hold her to ransom and force Kyle to do what they want because they're like, we'll hurt your daughter otherwise.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Interesting. And again, this was an extreme high angles. In fact, I think this was back to the bird's eye view inside.
yeah, it's really uncomfortable to watch. Although this one, the with the high angles in general, but the bird's eye ones, again, if we go back to what we were talking about last episode, where maybe there's someone looking down.
Maybe. Do you know what,
This is another moment where it could be intervention, like, hey, no, we're going to back off.
do you know what I like about it in this case, though, with a little girl, is that it nullifies the height difference.
Does, yeah.
From the top, everyone's the same height, if that makes sense. Like, they're all just the same size on the screen.
Yes.
You don't have this sense of, like, oh, they're big and foreboding, and she's this little defenseless girl. It puts them all on this equal footing.
Yeah. She is equal to them in
Yeah.
every way when you look at it like that.
Yeah, so I thought that's an interesting little touch of using that shot at that exact time.
Yeah.
When it's her facing off against two adult, possibly possessed people.
Yeah. Well, again, the direction's really great.
It is. There's a lot of really simple stuff that just adds like. There's a scene when they go to the house where the kid from season 1 was, and they find like the one sister who's not been taken. As they're entering there, the camera does a full sort of flip, and then it's upside down as they're entering the door. And it's just like most shows would just not do something like that. They would just have them enter with normal
Just
shots.
watch them go out through the door. Yeah.
Actually, Joe, one of my favourite little shots was it was back in the hospital with was when Amber's leaving them to go to the fish tank,
Yeah.
and there was a shot from down the hall, and it's from like behind a chair, so it's really out of focus. It's just this dark. You can just see like the dark arm of the chair, but it separates like the parents and Amber,
Yeah.
and it's almost like there's two windows of like between the chair like legs or like design on the arm, and you can just see like one pocket's the parents, one pocket's her. And it's just this really symbolic thing of she's separating from her parents.
Yeah. It just shows you that she's alone.
Yeah. Really, again, really subtle. Well, arguably that one's not that subtle, but it's really neat. It's simple and effective.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this episode. Well, all season at this point.
Yeah. But they're doing a good job with the direction so far. It's really good. There's another hiccup being held back. So, no, that was just about. So, Evil Ginger Kid's missing. He's escaped from his bed at the shack.
The question is, does he go home, or does it? Because obviously the chief comes and talks to the mother, and she's like, "Hey, he always wanted to get away since his dad died, you know."
Hey, you say he comes and talks to her. He's trying to do his own thing, and she comes and berates him in the middle of the street.
Okay, yeah, fine.
And then she accuses him of letting the Reverend go because it's his friend. And to be fair, from her perspective, I can see why you would think that. We know that he knows that there's demonic stuff going on.
Sure, but to be fair, the Reverend did, regardless if no one was in there, he did burn down a building. That is still arson.
Oh yeah, it is, but he knows why he did it. Like it's not.
Sure.
He knows it's because it might be this. Like Satan might be in there.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. But then she says, "Oh, I'm going to go to the mayor and get this sorted out."
Well, yeah, they did this last episode of the mayor is
Yeah.
like having trouble with them, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Like the
But this is quite a big example, I think, because it is you've had someone who's confessed to a crime of burning down a house, and then he's let him go anyway. This is different to him just looking into extra people.
oh, of course that is, but it's still like, can she prove it?
That's fair.
And even if she can, like, he can still say stuff to the mayor. He can still be like, no, we've looked into it. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and even if he did burn down the house, is that necessarily you stay in jail until you're hearing necessarily?
No, probably not. You probably pay bail them.
Yeah. So.
But yeah.
No, it's obviously an issue, but I can see her having a tragic ending this season. I think she's going to keep going down the rabbit hole, and then her son's going to get her killed, intentionally or otherwise.
I think the son kills her.
Yeah, I think that's likely. I think she's going to be like a trial for him, like to prove that he's evil.
Yeah. Definitely.
If not that, then I think she's going to end up just being killed in the circumstances of whatever's going on. But I think she's doomed. I think she's completely screwed, and
Yeah,
that's
pretty
just
much.
the end of it. But hey, what are you going to do? Anyway, that's Outcast episode 3. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fudge for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. Thanks for watching, guys. Have you got any vanilla?